Alright, what's going on, guys? Over the past week and a half now, the Elden Ring marketing has kicked it into full gear. We're at the point now where Elden Ring is really trying to compete with all the other games coming out this month and make sure to grab that sale over Horizon and the Destiny DLC. And it seems like everywhere I look now, I'm seeing Elden Ring. And it's kind of a double-edged sword because if you're like me, if you're an Elden Ring fan who doesn't want to see spoilers and who really cherishes that first blind playthrough, we have now officially entered the worst time. And you've probably already seen the title, but that is not clickbait. Elden Ring is now out, although not fully publicly. There are people playing the game right now, and I'm not talking about the 6-hour demos that some of the press got to play. I'm talking about the full game. So today I'm going to break down all the details of that, and we're going to go over a lot of the marketing tactics Elden Ring has been doing recently. And we have a lot to cover. So if you don't mind, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. On this channel we cover all things Elden Ring and From Software, and I'm doing my best to keep it all spoiler free for you guys until release. So let's talk about it. I want to start the video off with kind of the most urgent news we need to talk about, and what you most likely clicked the video for. And that is that the full version of Elden Ring is in the hands of people right now and they are playing it. Most of these are press and reviewers, but I don't think the big YouTubers and streamers have gotten their copies yet, because I do know of a few that typically do get review copies who said that they have not. However, I am hearing through the grapevine that somehow the full game has gotten out to people that aren't press. Although I can't confirm that for 100% because I don't know the people exactly, but I do know that copies of the game are going out to the public, specifically people that work at retail stores that are going to be carrying the game. I know for a fact Best Buy has their copies in, as well as the collector's edition items, and that a few people have been able to go and collect their games from there. Now before you try calling your Best Buy, do not do that because they're not supposed to let you get it. I think what's going on here are some of the workers that got to unbox those probably snagged the copy that they bought for themselves. I know I've seen the Best Buy steelbooks going around, and a couple Millennia statues, but the thing that concerns me is that I haven't seen any of the art books. If the art book does get leaked, there are going to be a lot of spoilers in there, so I kind of hope that it doesn't this far from release. So here's where the extent of my knowledge on this situation kind of ends, and I have a question that nobody has been able to confirm or deny to me, and that is that if you do manage to snag a disc, will your console let you run the game? Because my first thought was that no, it wouldn't, because there's probably a time lock, and they're still making changes that aren't present in the current build. But then I talked to a few people that have gotten early disc copies of games recently, such as Ghost of Tsushima, and they said they were able to play it a week early. So if you guys do know that, let me know down in the comments, because that would be very interesting if that's the case. But going along with this, the spoiler floodgates are about to open, because now that discs are going out to the public, that means a few things. There's going to be somebody out there that's able to bypass the time lock if there is one, or somebody that's able to extract the information on the disc. Because I know a similar situation happened with Sekiro, and all the bosses got spoiled like 3 weeks before release. Now the good thing with Elden Ring is that the circles that are sharing these spoilers are very secluded. For example, I don't know if this is 100% true because I'm not going and looking for it, but somebody told me that 4chan has already discovered all the demigods, but like I said, I'm not about to go look for that, but I'm glad it's only being shared in those small circles. I've also heard wind that the achievement list might have leaked, and that goes along with the disc going out to the public. If they do get a disc and are able to run it, that's something they'll be able to find. But for those of you that want to see this information, let me interject my opinion a little bit. I would highly recommend that you do not. A lot of the charm of Elden Ring is going in blind. And trust me when I say you'll likely enjoy it a lot more going in without knowing what to expect. And that's what Miyazaki himself recommended. Now I want to talk about the state of Elden Ring's marketing. Elden Ring is everywhere now. You might have seen this picture of an Elden Ring bus in London, or the statue of Millennia going around a lot of game stores in Europe. But something even cooler is that last night while we were watching UFC 271, a lot of us were really excited to hear Elden Ring being advertised during the main event. And I'll show y'all the clip real quick.
Alright, tonight's fighter arrivals are presented by Elden Ring. Explore a new world created by Hidetaka Miyazaki and George R.R. Martin. Available on PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam on February 25th.
And man, it's just so crazy to see how far we've come. Thinking back to a time where we didn't even think the game was real. At a time where we had to create our own lore, our own bosses, and our own news about the game, because there was nothing to keep the community alive. And so to see the game everywhere now, ads being shown on every video I watch, It's just crazy to see how far we've come. And it's very hard to believe that the game is barely over a week away now. But also in a week is another example of Elden Ring marketing, where Red Bull is going to be doing a stream where lots of creators are going to be talking about the game and showcasing new gameplay to build the hype 5 days before release. Now I do think it's going to be pretty spoiler heavy, so personally I'm not going to be able to watch it, but I did want to mention that Lore Hunter was invited to discuss the game's lore on the stream, so shout out to him. I think that's an awesome opportunity. Now for the rest of the video, I want to discuss some things that I haven't really gotten the chance to cover, and that is the changes from the network test to the final build of Elden Ring that have been revealed and are not spoilers. These are gameplay changes that if you played the network test you're gonna want to know about. Now Yasuhiro Kitao covered these in an interview a few days ago, but it was released at the same time as all the other new footage, so I didn't really get a chance to look at that, but I'll go ahead and get into them right now. The first thing I want to talk about is one that people were hoping the most would be changed, and that is the HUD. That was something I noticed right off the bat as soon as I started the network test, was that the HUD just looked unfinished. It was honestly pretty immersion breaking because it just didn't match anything else in the game. And Kitao did clarify that in the survey they took of community feedback, that was by far the #1 complaint. So I'm glad they're going to be changing that to something that looks a little bit more in place. The next big change I want to talk about is that they're changing the strength and endurance stats. If you guys remember in the network test, if you wanted to increase your carry weight, you had to level up your strength. That stat boost has now been allocated over to endurance, so it's going to behave just like Dark Souls 1. Now, in addition to that, magic is also going to be getting tweaked a little bit. A lot of people thought the magic in the network test was extremely overpowered, but they did clarify that they are going to be making some adjustments to that to balance it a little bit more. I don't believe we got the specifics of what they're going to be doing exactly, but it is good to hear nonetheless. Another change that we heard about is that they're going to be nerfing Market a little bit. They did say they believed he was a little bit too strong for his position in the game. Now, I don't know exactly what the extent of that nerf is going to entail, but I did kind of feel like during the network test, by the time I got to him, there was no way I was going to kill him unless I went away and farmed for a little bit. So I think this is going to be a good change for the less hardcore players, since technically he can be the first boss they fight. But it sounds like the majority of changes that are going to be made are going to be ultimately making the game more balanced. They said they literally had to go through item by item and make sure everything felt optimal and not too strong. So I'm sure that was a ton of work, but we're ultimately going to be getting a better game because of it. But guys, that's pretty much all I got for you today. What do you think about people getting their hands on Elden Ring this early? Personally, I'm content to wait till the release date, but I don't have a way to get my game before the 25th anyway. This whole situation's kinda crazy, and I really want to see what comes out of this without being spoiled, and if people are actually able to get into the game before the release date. But guys, if you enjoyed the video today, be sure to leave a like on it and subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll catch you in the next one.